So today we're going to go over some of the basics of BandLab. So I'm going to start by going on the top and clicking on Create. And I'm going to click New Project. Once I'm in, it will give me several options. Voice and audio is if I wanted to capture a sound or my voice using a microphone. Instruments is if I want to use my MIDI controller, which is our little piano that plugs into the computer. There's a drum machine, there's a sampler. Guitar and bass is if I have an actual guitar and bass guitar that I can plug directly into a computer, which we do not have at this time. I can import existing audio files, so it could be songs, it could be samples, it could be different sounds, and then I can also use BandLab sounds. So for today, I would like us to learn how to use the loops inside of BandLab using BandLab sounds. So I'm going to click on BandLab sounds. Once I've clicked on that, I can see I have all of these things over here on the side. There are packs. Packs are essentially a bunch of loops that form together that are designed to go together to create specific sounds. You can click play on a pack to hear what it sounds like, and then if you like what it sounds like, you can click on the name and see all the individual loops that are there within that pack. You can click play on each loop to hear what it sounds like. And if I like that specific sound, I can drag it and I can drop it into my track here. It might ask you to set the key. If it does, you can go ahead and click set. We'll learn more about project keys later in the year. So once your sound is here, there are a few things that we can do. If you want this sound to repeat, you can find this little circle in the top right corner, hover over it, hold down your left click, and you can drag it for however long you want it to repeat. If the sample itself is 4 bars, I highly recommend that if you're going to loop it, you loop it for the entire 4 bars. Over here on the left side, we have a mute. So if you want to mute a specific track so that you can hear another one. So for instance, if I bring in a second track underneath it, I can, and I wanted to hear what that track sounds like on its own, I can press mute on this track, and then you see that it turns to gray. And then I have green here, which means it's playing. If I want to hear what they sound like together, I can unmute. But now let's look at this white line. It's going to pick up wherever this white line is at. So if I want to hear it from the beginning, I either have to click at the beginning above the track underneath the number, or I can use this button up here to go to the beginning. All right, so if I press play, or you can press spacebar to press play. It allows you to hear it together. Now let's say I want to change the tempo or the beats per minute. I can go up here to where it says beats per minute, and if I want it to be faster, I type in a larger number like 120, and I press enter. And then it'll ask me if I want to adjust it to the new tempo. Yes, you do. So I'm going to click the blue adjust button. And now if I play it, it should be faster. So that's for packs. Now let's look at specific loops for a moment. If I click on loops here, I'm going to click on these 2 parallel lines, and these are my filters. So let's say I wanted to add in some type of bass loop to go underneath it because it's missing like a bass guitar. So I'm going to click on bass, and then next I'm going to go down to genre. This allows you to pick a specific style of music. I'm going to click on hip hop or trap for now. And then character allows you to filter it more if you want something intense, if you want something upbeat, if you want something kind of chill. So I'm going to click on chill because I'm feeling chill. And then BPM or key we don't need to worry about for what we're doing at the moment. So then to hide these filters, I click on that same button again. And now these are all of my sounds that match that filter. So if I find one that I like, so let's say I like this one. I'm going to drag and drop this over underneath it, because if they are underneath each other, right, if they stack on top of each other, that means they're going to play at the same time. If they were next to each other like this, they will not play at the same time. When these two are done playing, when you get here, you'll only hear the bass part. So I can drag it underneath, go back to the beginning to hear what it sounds like with everything. Now let's say I can't hear the bass at all. There are a few things I can do. I can make these other tracks quieter. And I can make this one louder. Now let's say I don't like how this bass sounds with these tracks. I can click on it, and I can either hit my backspace button to delete it, and I'm going to use this undo button to bring back that delete. If you ever need to undo something, you can undo this. Or you can right click your track and then click delete. If I want to hear just the bass track and not these, I can either mute both of these, or an easier way to do it is I can go to my bass track and I can click on the S for solo, and that allows me to hear just that track. If I want to unsolo something, I can. If I want to hear two specific tracks together, I can solo them together. Now let's say I want to clear my filters because I want to look for something else. I can click this clear all button next to everything. And now I can go back again, look for a new instrument. I can look for a new genre. I can look for a new character, whatever you are feeling. One-shots we will learn at a later time when we learn about samplers. So if I want to hide this because I want to be able to see my audio files here, I can. If you want to select multiple audio files, you can click outside of them and hold your click and then drag to select them all. And if I wanted all of these to loop, I can go to this loop button again with all of them selected, and now I can keep it moving. I can have all of them loop. Okay. One other thing I can do is on each track there's an FX button, right? So I can click on that FX button. I can add an effect, and these are all different types of effects that I can add. So if I scroll through, there are different types of effects. There's effects that simulate different types of things you might hear on a guitar amp to make guitars sound different. There are delays, there are bit crushers, which are used a lot for lo-fi music. Lo-fi stands for low fidelity, which means they have low bit depth or low quality. So bit crushers are a way to achieve that. So I can add a bit crusher onto this to show you. I'm gonna make the intensity all the way so you can hear what it would sound like. And let's solo this track so we can hear it. I'm gonna go back to the beginning and I'm gonna press play. So there's this distorted sound. If I turn it off, it's much clearer. So all the effects are based on the kind of sound you want, right? And so I'm going to unsolo this. I'm going to go ahead and remove that effect. And the last thing I would like to cover for today is, well, I guess there are three things. If you ever want to save, you click save. When you're working on something, definitely change the title. Every time you create something new, it'll say new project at the top. Change the title. For me, I'll put tutorial because that's what this is. And then if you want to add a collaborator, if you want someone to be able to work on a project with you, you can click this plus button with the person next to it. You can either email it to them or send it to their BandLab username, or you can copy the link and you can share it with them in our Schoology group. And that will allow them to work on this project with you on their computer. Just know that that means they can delete anything, they can move anything. So while it is fun to collaborate with people, be sure that it's going to be something that's not going to take away from what you've already worked on. And then the last thing is up here in these three bars, you can go to project, you can publish it, you can manage your collaborators, or you can download it. You can download it as a mixdown. If you download it as a mixdown, that basically turns it into like an MP3 file or a WAV file, which is just one file of all of your sounds together, your entire song downloaded, or you can download it as each individual track. The reason you do each individual track is if you want to download the tracks and share it with someone, they could then have all of these tracks in theirs without having to be a collaborator. So those are the things that I would like us to explore today. We're going to explore the transport. We're going to explore the loops, which you can find down here, and the sounds. We're going to rename our things, learn more about the mute and solo buttons for your tracks, changing the volume, and then changing your beats per minute and using the loop function.